looking for me at work.
Uh-oh.
I'm at school.
I'm doing math. Leave me alone. So, homework 14, we're going to solve some longer equations yet.
Yes.
And so we have to be real careful on what we're doing because, you know, it's easy to make those mistakes with the signs and all of that. But our first step, get rid of the parentheses. That's always our first step on these. So we're going to use our distributive property. 3 times x would be 3x. 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. Bring down the minus 5. Equals, on the other side, negative times a negative. Negative 3 times negative 9 is positive 27x. Negative 3 times a positive 4. Minus negative 12. Minus 12, and then the minus 8x. So we've got rid of our parentheses. The second thing we said we're going to do is if there's more than 2 terms on the side, we want to combine our like terms. So on the first side, we can put our numbers together. In math, those are called constant terms because they don't have variables. And on the other side, we're going to put the terms with the variables together. So 3x, negative 15 minus 5 is minus 20. We're not changing any signs. We're just putting them together.
Oh, so we're not combining the two. I thought we were going to do 15, 5, and 12.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Over here, we're going to do 27 minus 8, which is 19x minus 12. So now it's to the point where we have to start moving things so that we can get the like things together, right? So now this is where the sign is going to change. I want my x's together, usually on the left side, my numbers together, usually to the right side. So I'm going to move this over here. Since it's a positive 19, we got to subtract the 19x. And then we have to move the number to the other side. Since it's a minus 20, we make it a plus 20. And then we do our work. 3 minus 19 would give me negative 16x. Negative 12 plus 20 would be positive 8. Our last step, dividing by that negative 16 that's in front of our x, and simplifying our fraction. We get a positive over a negative, so we know our fraction's negative. 8/16, there they come wandering in, would reduce down to 1/2. So x is equal to a negative 1/2. So could I move my 12 here? I could, but then I have to remember when I move my 12 that I have to add it when I move it over. So they have you combine the like terms where you don't change the signs first, then worry about moving them.
Did we go 13 and 14 or just 14?
Just 14. We did 13 last week.
Oh, yeah. Ow!
Okay.
Got that all written down? All right, so now we're going to do the next one. First thing we're going to do is our distributive property. So we're going to do the left side first. Multiply that out. What are you going to get?
Negative 10u.
4 plus 4.
Plus 4. Negative times a negative is a positive 4. And then we just bring down that plus 6u. Equals. On the other side, we're going to bring down the 6. And then don't put your sign till you actually multiply because you want the sign of the answer. In this case, it's not going to change, but sometimes it does.
Negative plus 6.
Positive 6u and
Negative 16.
negative 16 when I multiply those by 2. Our next step, we said, combine the like terms that are on the same side. So I'm going to put my u's together on the left side, my numbers together on my right side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So negative 10 plus 6 would be?
Negative 4.
Negative 4u, and then just bring down my plus 4. On the other side, I like my variable first, so I'm going to put my 6u in front and then put my number on the end. 6 minus 16 is?
What?
6 minus 16 is negative 10. Now if you put negative 10 plus 6u, it's the same thing, but we like to get used to seeing things in the same order. Now, once I have it where I only have 2 terms on both sides, that's when I start to move stuff together. So I want my u's over here on the left, my numbers on the right. What should I do?
Minus 6u.
Minus the 6u
And minus the 4.
and minus the 4. So now I'm going to get
24. Positive? No.
I'm adding
Oh, yeah.
negative 10u equals
Negative 14.
negative 14. Right?
Right?
Negative 4 plus negative 6 is negative 10, and negative 10 plus negative 4 is negative 14. My last step,
Divide by
14
10.
over 10.
divide by that negative 10 and simplify my fraction. A negative over a negative makes it a
Positive.
positive, and if I divide by 2, I would get
7/5.
7/5. So u equals positive 7/5. These are the longest ones you're going to have. So number 3 says solve for v. First thing I want to do, get rid of my parentheses using my distributive property, right?
Yep, yep.
Oops.
Negative.
The 3 that go on there, it's on the back.
Oh, on the back. Okay.
I was trying to save some paper. So, negative 6 times 2v,
Negative 12.
negative 12v, negative 6 times a negative 9,
Plus 54.
plus 54. And then bring down the plus 3v. On the other side, 7 times v, 7v, and 7 times a positive 6,
42.
plus 42. So on this one, the left side has 3 terms, the right side only has 2 terms, so there's only going to be like terms to combine on the left side. We're going to combine our v's together. Negative 12v plus 3v is
Negative 9.
negative 9v plus 54 equals our 7v plus 42. From there, we would want to
Drop the 7 and make it a negative 7.
subtract our 7v and
And take our 54 and
minus the 54.
Okay.
So negative 9 minus 7 would be
Negative 16.
negative 16v equals 42 minus 54.
Negative 12.
Negative 12. And then our last step,
Divide.
divide by that negative 16. Again, we have a negative over a negative, so it is positive. And if I reduce that down, I can divide those by 4. 3/4. So v equals positive 3/4.